Another new month, another new week, filled to the brim with new games and some of the most awaited games that finally got their global releases. February is about 4 days in and there's already enough games to keep you busy for the rest of the year. With that in mind, here's our top 20 new games of the month ready to go for your Android and iOS devices as well. At number 1, guys, we've got over here it's been in its pre-register state for a whole year now, but finally out globally, ready for free on both platforms in case you missed it, Tomb Raider Reloaded. This is an auto-running, almost twin-stick shooter, the shooting part comes in automatic style, we just have to direct the character and just point her towards the direction. This game's free to play, a little greedy maybe, and has been getting a lot of fixes and updates ever since 2 years ago. Take a quick look. Moving on to number 2, we have from precisely 24 hours ago, sitting on the Play Store with over 10,000 downloads ever since, probably the biggest game in scale that came in so far in February, something called Exo Hunters Galaxy. Guys, this is actually a story-based top-down RPG shooter, maybe a little bit just like the number 1 game Tomb Raider Reloaded, except an exploration-based and a mission-based. Exo Hunters free and takes you down about 1 GB of space. At number 3, we've got since February 1st, huge battle royale shooter going by the name Pangun. It's been sitting on the Play Store with over 10,000 downloads, soon to be 50, as an online, fast-paced, deathmatch multiplayer third-person shooter. Pangun over here is actually quite innovative in gameplay mechanics. It has a totally different style compared to other battle royale games like Fortnite. Over 50 guns to choose from, a bunch of cool characters, and has more content, by the way, on the way for the following month. Check it out. Coming up behind that from a few days ago only, we have something called Sold Out. Global, though, has been out there for a while and now available in technically all regions. This is, for those of you new, a deck-building, turn-based tactical RPG that works just like Hearthstone, except not a time-sensitive, but a turn-sensitive, like you have only about a certain amount of turns. This game is playable online and takes you down about 8 GB of space. At number 5, coming from the same developers of the free Towerlands Castle Defense with over 1 million downloads from a couple of years ago, we've got since 48 hours ago finally their new game called Stagelands. This is a totally all the way offline, once again, tower defense strategy, quite a bit cloned off of the company's other game in core, but actually very different in defending style. This game is free, has in-app purchases, can be played online, it has optional ads, and about 100 megabytes of space, if you like.
Dear Freddy, we're on our way to France to help you win the war.
Available exclusively for Netflix members here. You might as well just skip this one already. But however, if you've got an account, we've got over here Valiant Hearts, not Valiant Hearts 2 by the way, that game's still in the making, but Valiant Hearts Coming Home. There's actually a sequel to Valiant Hearts The Great War. This is, in case you're new to the series, a visual novel style adventure, to some extent action, and also a puzzler. This one's even playable offline. There's 2 problems though. This game is in its current state a little too laggy and takes you down about 1 GB of space. At number 7, one of the oldest games released in East years ago, but finally here globally and in English, basically in all regions, as a free online, MMORPG, in case you missed it, something called Mere M. It's actually one of the more advanced in visuals RPGs of the past few years, if we're talking action RPGs like Diablo. A little laggy in nature, mainly because of the graphics, but actually not that optimized and a little bit delayed in response when you're playing it. The good news, however, is that this game is getting constant updates and fixes, and it's shaping up to be a good one, so keep it in mind. At number 8, not quite still there globally, but playable globally on the Play Store, we have an idle-based action RPG, semi-action though RPG, you'll see in a second, called Demon Sword. Well, the original name's actually different if you use a link down in the description, because the game's in Korea or in Chinese, I don't know. This is a martial arts-based Japanese-style, AFK arena-style RPG, so technically it's only playable online, and I think it's fair to say that it's inspired by so many samurai-style games like Trek to Yomi, Mei Fumando, the upcoming game, and a little bit Ghost of Tsushima. Take a look. This game takes you down about 1 GB of space as well. Sitting on the Play Store since 3 days ago with almost 50 downloads. That's 50. I don't even know if the word underrated does justice to this one. We've got something called Defense Rivals Tower War. This is an online strategy wave-based action, royal style, quite a bit inspired by Clash Royale and literally right up there in replay value with that. Except coming as the first work of a developer, perhaps that's why the number is 50. This game's free, takes you about 500 megabytes of space only, and boy, is it actually good. Number 10. Quick mention for those of you who have already played the big hit football and the NBA superstars I mentioned a couple of days ago. We've got here now from the same developers of 8-Ball Pool with over 500 million downloads on the Play Store, their newest game called Baseball Home Run. This is a free online game in nature with ads and in-app purchases. Haven't played this one yet, but generally speaking, I think it's safe to say that in visuals it looks pretty good. So other than that, you're to figure the rest. I don't like sport games. We're moving on.
Gentlemen, welcome to Hunt! What we are seeing now is a skirmish between two teams. Upon entering the hunt...
At number 11, we have one of the most anticipated Battle Royale shooters of 2023, released less than a week ago, going by the name Farlight 84. I've actually mentioned this one in my last video. In fact, Farlight's been out for a while now, north of a year, and it's just got a global version on the Play Store. That's simply it. The game's pretty advanced in visuals, playable only online, and takes you down about 1 GB of space. Just take a look, in case you missed it. Coming from the same developers of the last Survival, maybe just the best offline survival horror game that came out for the past few months, we've got over here a brand new offline, albeit first-person shooter at its core, Counter-Strike inspired, technically cloned off of that, playable even online with your friends or without your friends, with a ton of different mods and weapons to choose from, something called Target Ops. This game's free, like I said, takes you down about 100 megabytes, and this is how it really looks. At number 13 from roughly a week ago, we've got over here an open world RPG, monster breeding action RPG. I'm not entirely sure, but there is a full English version of this one in the making with new English voice actings and everything, due out in the following month. That's just what I've heard. Gameplay part though, this game is mainly online, it's free with in-app purchases, and quite a bit inspired by two games, as I mentioned before, Digimon and Genshin Impact. The trailer over here doesn't say that, but it's actually that. been out there for almost a whole year in its pre-register state, finally out globally. Here's an online game in case you all missed it, called Resource War. Exactly as the title suggests, this is just a competitive multiplayer resource rating defending shooter set in some distant future on another planet from ours and having you and your friends fighting over just dust. This game actually has a co-op multiplayer option, a story campaign, and a few different modes to play for a little bit of a kick. At number 15, we've got our only paid game of the list over here taking you... Actually, this game is free if you like. There's 2 links down in the description. However, taking you down about $2 if you like, since February 1st is an offline game. We've got Ailment Dead Standoff Premium. Some of you might know this game's already been out there for 4 years. With over 500,000 downloads and a 4.2 ratings on the Play Store. It's a roguelike action shooter, very nice game in nature, albeit this is the first official fully offline version sitting on the Play Store with even controller support. Check it out. Sitting on the Google Play and the App Store with only 100 downloads. Since the first day of the month, we've got over here Queen's Heroes. This is a pixel art style semi-turn-based online casual action game, actually online for some extra stuff, but playable offline if you like. It's somewhere an RPG with dungeon crawling and some rhythmic style movements. Just take a look, this game's free, taking you down about 50 megabytes of space with in-app purchases only. It's a good one. Downloaded over 50,000 times since almost a week ago. Not my favorite game of the day, but we've got over here Stickman Warfare Battle Shrek. Guys, this is an online/offline team-based, almost a tactical shooter. Games is Stickman made, so it's a physics-based, as you can tell. Got over 100 weapons and defensive items to just choose from, cars, vehicles, several mods and stages for a bit of a kick, and quite the addicting pace to it. There's one problem though, this game at the moment doesn't really have great service, but actually does manage. Coming up behind that, to be honest, my favorite game so far, probably the most addicting if we're talking strategy stuff, we've got something called Zoo Castle, guys. This is a tower defense skill-based strategy castle defense game, like just most tower defense games, albeit all the troops that you get to defend with stay on top of your castle to prevent anyone from going in. To some extent, it even has some merge game elements for upgrades. Ton of replay values, playable online though, and free. It's huge. Next up at number 19 we have Spooky Toons. Technically Subway Surf if it was made by an indie developer and set with a just Halloween backdrop. Legitimate for a free game, in fact it's a tad more rewarding compared to Subway Surf as it's a newly released, simple to learn, easy to get the hang of, fast paced and quite a bit addicting. Check it out, this game is playable only online, has a ton of in-game customization options if you like. And last but not least, to leave it on a pretty boomer notes here on out, we've got at number 20 something called Archery 3D. Just a quick mention over here, this is a mix of tic-tac-toe and archery. Released a couple of days ago, and I've seen my dad just do nothing else but rotating his phone with this one. I don't know what the problem is. What I do know is that this game is pretty engaging, pretty challenging, and if you're into dart, just accurate shooting, 3D archery games, I've mentioned a few ones before, this game's free and taking you down less than 100 megabytes of space. That is it. Take care y'all, I'll see you in a couple of days, bye.